Welcome to the shooting show. This week, Byron takes us on a roebuck hunt in typical Scottish weather, plus clay shooting editor Wesley Stanton reviews an interesting Benelli semi-auto. The spring roebuck season is well underway, and David Virtue is making the most of it, taking an overseas client out on his ground. We've got 2 days to get that buck. The clock is ticking, and if that wasn't enough, the Scottish weather has turned up to give our guest a proper welcome. These are far from perfect stalking conditions.
It was pea soup. It was an easterly wind, which isn't good. You know, this east coast, it's not good. If you get an easterly wind coming in, you get fog and wet and damp, and it was just terrible. Now, the weather is the weather when you come and you're organising a trip. It's you just have to take it as it is. Yeah. But we've had such good weather up until now, and then this last week it's been, the weather's been pretty poor.
Torben has stalked on this territory before, and David is happy to let him have a solo session in a selected high seat. Chances of success seem low, visibility is limited and the roe may be less than willing to venture out, but we've never let a bit of fog stop us before. The vigil begins. Despite all the signs, Torben spots a roe almost immediately, but it's not the buck we're after. The afternoon wears on, but there's nothing more to report at this location. We call it a blank and climb down. Short foot stalk closes out the first day. We spy another roe in the distance, but there'll be no chance at a shot before the day's out. We hope for better luck on day 2. But our hopes are quickly dashed as the day dawns as miserable as the last. We'll have to do this the hard way. With these conditions to contend with, some robust kit is called for. David has equipped Torben with a Ruger American in 308 with gecko ammo. Plus Torben has his innovative recon clothing from Deer Hunter and Swarovski optics. But even with all our gear, this still won't be a walk in the park. This will be a classic walk and stalk, and David has earmarked several likely locations to try out. As we reach the first one, we finally get a sign that things might go our way.
You see her?
Yeah, down.
She's just feeding in the winds.
Yes.
She's feeding in, whether that's the same doe or different doe. Yeah, no, she's just feeding away. Yeah. She's just feeding away in the winds.
And things get better.
Back, clear top, see him.
Close by the doe, a buck reveals itself. This one isn't hanging around, but it's our first sighting of the quarry we came for. We stalk on with renewed optimism. But the frustration soon begins to mount once more. We know the bucks are nearby, but the fog has settled, and it's ever more difficult to get a sight of our quarry, let alone a shot. David opts for a change of plan.
I'll go and sit up there, see what happens, and then maybe I'll leave you sitting there and I'll go and get the vehicle and come back up and then maybe have a look at the dodge now it's cleared a bit. I'll just give it time in here. Just one maybe on there. And just watch this bank. And watch down at the boundary, the wall's the boundary there, okay?
Just as David is about to head off, the bucks pick their moment to re-emerge.
See them? That's the other big buck. Any of these 2 bucks will be worth pursuing, they'll be there or thereabouts. I would just follow the wall up and go up as far as you can until you see them. I think, as I say, they'll come, maybe they'll settle down and come back down at the bottom there. And you maybe go to as far as that wall, and that boy is in that wall all the way down. So he's this valley here, and they have that valley there. But they're both much the same size. They're both solid good mature 5-6 year old bucks, so they're good, strong, big body.
Yeah, big body.
Big bodies, either big heavy beasts. You can beat them.
Torben stalks on alone, but the conditions have barely improved even as we head into late morning, and he can't catch up with the bucks. David provides backup from the vehicle and spots them lying up in a neighbouring field, but with very little cover, that's as close as we can get.
See them?
All our hopes now rest on the evening stalk. Conditions are finally clear, and Torben glasses the ground expectantly. And he's in luck. There's a buck out in the middle of a new plantation. Torben stalks in slowly and carefully. The last thing we want to do is spook the buck and spoil all the effort of the last 2 days. The buck stands in a good position for the shot. With a clear backstop, Torben finally has his chance. Torben keeps his eye on the deer through the Swarovski scope, but the gecko bullet has done its job and the buck is down on the spot. We make the call to David for assistance and then head in to check out the grass buck. After 2 days of false starts, we've finally finished on a high.
Nice. Nicer than I thought, Dave. Nicer when I saw it the first time.
Some nice purling on the bottom.
Yeah, that's nice. And I like it's a bit it's a little bit bladed. I like that.
Congratulations.
Cheers,
Well
mate.
done.
Cheers.
Well
Thanks.
done.
Thanks,
You
man.
struggled with the weather a wee bit this last couple of days, but that's a good buck to finish.
Yeah.
All of a sudden we saw the buck where we did not expect to see it further to the left. Wrong wind. But we quickly moved up behind a tree, so we were hidden, and then we moved quite quickly towards the buck and to get a better wind. And it was just standing there broadside, got a nice shot on it.
And it dropped on the spot?
Dropped on the spot, long shot.
Yeah.
Perfect, nice, very nice.
I think it'll be quite a good season. I mean, we've seen some really good bucks, and they're a lot earlier this year than last. Obviously last year we had that cold spell in March, and that sort of held them back. There were still a lot of good bucks even in velvet and when it come to April. But this year most of the good bucks were clean by the end of March, and they seem to be in better condition, far heavier body weights, good heads as well. You know, the winter's been kind to them, very kind to them. And the does that were shooting at the end of the season, there were some big weighted does, so very good.
It's been hard, but you're happy?
I'm happy, very happy now. It's been a perfect ending to a very brilliant, beautiful day. Perfect ending. Yeah, I'm very happy.
Byron and David doing the do there on the roebuck, and now the shooting show news.
This is the Shooting Show News, with the CLA Game Fair less than 8 weeks away. John Rigby is back in London, and it unveiled its new premises in Pensbury Place, Vauxhall, to the assembled great and good of the gun trade on Tuesday. The new look Rigby has joined forces with Mauser and Blaser to create its latest line of rifles, including the big game rifle available in classic Rigby calibers. Managing Director Mark Newton said his overwhelming feeling at the completion of the new showroom was relief.
We've had an amazing last 8 months since we left our previous premises and we bought this new building, and we've transformed it into the perfect gun making facility and gun shop. And to have somewhere like this for Rigby aficionados to come to look at the collectible items that we've been able to put together, the pre-war rifles, the rifles that we're making now, and our fabulous new showroom is very, very exciting.
The shooting show got a tour behind the closed doors of the National Firearms Centre in Leeds, courtesy of Edgar Brothers. The company invited the press to tour the Firearms Centre and the Royal Armouries, and it took the opportunity to show off some new products too, including Zolly game guns and a new Savage rifle.
Today we've brought the 3 new Zolly game guns. We've got the Zolly Z Game, the Z Game Lux and the Z Game Special. This is the top of the range Z Game Special. It's got upgraded walnuts, it's got different engraving with gold inlay, detachable trigger, silver soldered barrels, chrome lines, and it's got multi-choke.
We're showing a lot of our new brands. people like Chiappa, very important for us in the UK. They have a diverse range of products, and it's a really, really good company to deal with. Yeah, we've known the Royal Armouries for quite a while, and we know them really well, and they've got a very good team here, an amazing place.
Meet Haenel, the newest rifle brand set to take the UK by storm. UK importer Viking Arms showed us the affordably priced models in the Haenel range. And it even flew in a representative of the manufacturer to tell us more.
First thing you need to know about it is that Haenel belongs to the Merkel group, and this is a very traditional manufacturer in Suhl, and this is where we are 100% daughter of Merkel. So we brought out in a low price segment a good product variety of hunting rifles. So we do have the Jaeger 10 rifles displayed on here, which is our flagship actually in the bolt action rifles. So all of them is hammer forked barrels, and we have a drop box magazine and 60 degrees opening angle on the bolt action rifle, which is really very a good package and everything. So we have the hunting product on that side, but we also have the Varmint and Varmint Sporter versions. We do have mainly all the standard calibers like 243 and 308 and 3006, 270 Winchester, 300 Winchester Magnum. So nearly everything is available what is on the commercial market.
See more new rifles every month in Sporting Rifle magazine. Scotland has introduced its airgun licensing bill. The bill has long been a campaign promise of the SNP, and it has been widely expected since legislative powers over airguns devolved to Scotland last year. Airgun offences in Scotland have fallen 75% in the last 7 years, but the Scottish Government has repeatedly renewed its commitment to tightening the law. Justice Secretary Kenny McGaskill said he was determined to ensure there was robust legislation in place. Keep track of all the updates in Airgun Shooter magazine. And finally, shooting is part of the nation's future as well as its heritage. That was the message from Basque Chief Exec Richard Ali at the National Conference on Uplands Management. Addressing the conference, he said shooting and conservation are inseparable, and that shooting was a real part of the solution to creating a sustainable, balanced future for the UK's uplands. He also called for all those with an interest in the uplands to join forces to stamp out raptor poisoning. That was the Shooting Show news.
Hi, I'm Wes Stanton, editor of Clay Shooting magazine, and today I'm shooting the new Benelli Raffaello Powerbore at Hodnet during the Benelli Sporto Championships. This is every inch of Benelli, and one thing it does do is cycle 24 gram loads really well. If you go back to the good old days when we could all shoot clays with 1 1/8 cartridges, cycling shells through gas operated or inertia operated was never a real problem. But with lighter loads, it's a technical challenge for the manufacturers. Now this gun, Benelli are guaranteeing will shoot 24 gram shells. Well, how have they achieved that? Well, first of all, the inertia mechanism, the piston in the stock, you can't see it obviously, it's a shorter piston. And secondly, this gun is as light as a feather. It weighs, according to our Italian friends, 2.9 kilos, which is remarkably light. It's certainly made lighter because the rib, as you see here, is carbon fibre as opposed to steel, which saves a few grams, but it's very typical Benelli. They've looked at every tiny aspect of the gun and worked out what the gun needs to be to make it a really sweet shooting tool. On this new version, the Raffaello Powerbore, there's a wider bolt release, which is very easy to push. It doesn't indent your thumb at all like certain other autos. It's got an easy locking system and an easy loading system. What you used to find on the old Benellis, for example the M2, is if you release the bolt very slowly, it wouldn't actually lock. But on this, with the easy locking system, there's a bolt head that rotates with a minimum pressure as you push it forward, firmly locking the cartridge in place. This also has not only an easy locking system, an easy loading system. Like with any gun, I'm going to put some cartridges in, we're safe, we're on a range here. So you put a cartridge in, put another cartridge in. What we can also do very simply is by pressing this little button here, it will unload the cartridge as well. Now the barrel on this gun is particularly interesting. Benelli have taken the decision to underbore it effectively at 18.3 millimeters wide. A typical 12 gauge is 18.4, 18.5. That is going to put recoil up, And the Benelli is not a gas operated gun, it's an inertia operated gun, so it needs the inertia of the shot to actually cycle the mechanism. Now Benelli have been very good at acknowledging that their guns do recoil, and they need to have proper systems in place to help reduce that felt recoil. Benelli's new system is called the Progressive Comfort Recoil Reducing System. And if you look at the end here, you can see the words Progressive Comfort. And basically, when you're shooting with 24-gram loads, it will give just a little bit. But the more force that comes back towards the shooter's shoulder, the more it will resist. And I've got an example of what that might look like. So the way the Benelli Progressive Comfort system works, if you imagine this is the back of the gun, with a 24-gram load, which recoils relatively little, the red comb devices here absorb some of that load. But if you want to shoot a heavier load, like a 32 or a 36-gram shell, not only do these red combs move, but the black comb moves as well. And it works harder to keep the shooter's shoulder bruise free. Now, apart from the Progressive Comfort system, this piece of polyurethane here that sits on the shooter's cheek is also very, very soft. Now, some people do suffer from bruising on the cheek, but that takes care of that. Never let it be said that Benelli produce cheap shotguns. It's not what they're about. The offerings that come out from Urbino in Italy are beautifully made, beautifully engineered, and the ones that find their way onto the competition scene in the UK really do justify being there. This one is coming in at just over £2,000, so it's certainly not cheap. It's up there with over and unders price-wise, and it's certainly a lot more expensive than you would pay for, say, a cheap gas-operated auto. But it's a beautiful piece of engineering. This one is light, handles really elegantly. I think last year I said that Benelli was the Rolls-Royce of semi-auto manufacturers. I think I'm going to revise that and say they're the Ferrari of semi-auto manufacturers.
Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. This has been The Shooting Show.